8 here on Sunrise on 3FM 92.7. My name is Johnny Hughes. It's always a pleasure to feed you some good breakfast, laced with some good music, song in the background, Joe Menson's Bosua, great high life music. Ellen, are you feeling the groove?
Loving
Is
the
it
groove.
inside your bones?
Oh, inside the bones, everything.
Come on. And if you're cruising to work already at work, I want you to feel at home. Enjoy the best breakfast in the whole of the land. I'm sure you remember that last Monday we started a conversation about the swing regions. We gave you some styling statistics. I'm sure you didn't have an idea about that. I've been joined in the studio again by Ebenezer Nyarko, CEO of Enanalytics Company Ltd. He's a resident analyst and a data man. Here again in flesh and blood. Eben, good morning. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you.
Yeah,
Great.
good to see you too. I'm doing very well. Yourself?
I'm greater than Accra.
Yeah.
Now, last week, Monday, we had spoken about the swing regions.
Yeah.
You said that the central region was the swing of the swing.
Yeah.
And, there are some constituencies, there's some that vote, just presidential for one party and parliamentary for the other, and then you give us some figures of some who vote parliamentary and the presidential, so literally skirt and blouse.
Yes.
And they are the deciders of who becomes the leaders of this country.
Exactly.
Great. What do we have this week or today?
Yeah, so today we are looking at what we talked about Monday was, let's say, skirt and blouse,
right.
in its form. Today we want to look at the concept of swing as accepted in universal elections.
Right.
Okay.
When we say a swing constituency. A swing region, what does it mean?
What it means is that one election cycle, they are voting for a particular party.
Okay.
The next election cycle, they are voting for a different election, a different party.
Right.
So it swings. Their line is what we call sinusoidal. They are not aligned to one party over the stretch of the time horizon. So today, but we are starting from 2012 because it gives us a bit more clarity.
2012.
Yeah, 2012.
Okay.
Okay. So, in all, there are 52 constituencies in Ghana.
Okay.
That can be described as swing constituencies.
Okay. 52.
52.
What is the distribution like across the country?
They scatter. They are in 12 regions.
12.
Only 4 regions don't have a swing constituency.
And which regions are these?
Volta doesn't have a swing.
Volta doesn't have.
Upper East.
Upper East doesn't have.
OT and the Eastern region.
Okay, so let's go over it again. Volta doesn't have.
Upper East.
Okay.
OT and the Eastern region.
Eastern region. These 4, you can't say that ever.
No, since 2012.
Since 2012, they have had any swing at all. Okay.
As far as the presidential elections are concerned, so let's make that distinction.
Right.
We are talking about presidential election cycles. Okay. So these 4 have not. They have not
swinged before.
Not a single constituency within that. Each of these regions has been swung before.
Okay.
So if they are presidential, if they are voting for one party, it is consistent.
I see.
Okay. So when it comes to the swing constituencies, so today we will differentiate between central region as a swing and then Greater Accra, because people talk about these 2 regions a lot as swing, but today we will look at the distinction.
Right.
Central region has the highest number of swing constituencies since 2012. They have 14 of their constituencies. So their total constituency central is at 23. So you are talking about 60% of the constituencies in central region can be described as swing constituencies. Greater Accra follows by 9 constituencies.
Wow.
But 9 constituencies, look at the number of constituencies in Greater Accra. That is 34. So if you take the percentage, you are talking about around 26%. So that's what I said Monday, that when you talk about swing region, I mean, central region is the swing of the swing. So both in terms of number of constituencies by percentage, they are far ahead of Greater Accra. Okay.
So central region swings more than the Greater Accra region because they are the swing of the swing, right?
No, the number of constituencies within Central Accra a central region that are swing constituencies are higher
than that of Greater
Accra.
Region. Okay.
But their voting patterns as a region or as blocks are almost the same.
Okay.
The point of departure is 2020, and I'm going to explain that.
What influenced their decision to keep to one pattern until 2020?
I mean, their characteristics are the same. You have a situation whereby, for example, NPP has their stronghold in Ashanti. NDC, you are talking about Volta. NOT. So certain regions, for them, it is who they think that can bring development to their region.
Right.
So they are not looking at any historical,
3FM,
let's say, precedent that they said, okay, for us, historically, this is how we vote.
Right.
They are not looking at that. They are looking at the present.
Okay.
Who is coming to solve our problems for us?
Right.
So the voting pattern, and you can see that apart from 2020, any party who wins in Central automatically wins Greater Accra. That has been the pattern. The only point of departure was 2020.
And what happened in 2020?
Let me. I will come to that in a bit, but let me explain. Sometimes people say that Western region is a swing region, but it is not.
It is not?
It is not.
Why is it not?
We have technically only 2 swing regions in Ghana.
Which are?
Central and Greater Accra.
I see.
The only time Western region voted for the NDC since 2000 was in 2012.
Okay. And what was the reason?
Maybe they wanted to give the NDC more of a chance to maybe...
And in 2012, just for the records, in 2012, that Professor Mills had just died while in power.
Exactly.
And John Mahama had come in. Would you say there were sympathy votes for John Mahama?
It could be. It could be. Even though the votes in Western have... The margins have closed, or they have become closed margins.
Right.
But technically, it is not a swing region in its sense.
Okay.
That we want to ascribe it to both Central and then Greater Accra.
You were going to tell me about 2020, how the Central and the Greater Accra region departed from what has been the norm since 2012. Share that detail with me. Not even 2012. There are 2 critical things that we have to understand.
3FM.
The difference between Greater Accra and Central Region, that Central Region has 100% record of electing the president. Since in the Fourth Republic, if you win Central, you win the presidency. The pattern was also with Greater, apart from 2020, where the departure came. In 2020, Central Region went for the NPP, Greater Accra went for the NDC. And if you look at the data, you need 52% of the valid vote in Greater Accra to win the national presidency.
Okay. 52%.
52%.
If you don't get that, forget about it.
If you don't get that, you are not winning the presidency.
You need 52% as a presidential candidate in Greater Accra region
of the valid
votes cast.
Yes.
So that then you can say, okay, I'm comfortable.
Exactly.
I have won Greater Accra.
Yes.
Okay.
Not Greater Accra. You've won
the presidency.
Okay. Since the Fourth Republic, no party or person has won the presidency by winning less than 52% of the vote in Greater Accra.
So you can amass all the votes from elsewhere. If in Greater Accra you don't get 52%, you might as well kiss yourself goodbye.
Exactly.
Wow.
So in 2020, what happened was that even though the NDC won Greater Accra in the presidential election, they won by 51%, which was less than the threshold of the 52% needed to win the presidency.
Something fishy going down.
No, it could be. Patterns change.
Okay.
Data trends, underlying assumption and pattern within data could be changing along the line. Voting characteristics can change.
Right.
So it could be.
But if your litmus test is that you need 52% in the Greater Accra region to say you are confident enough to have won the presidential elections, and a party didn't get 52%, then something might have gone amiss. We must as well drill down and find out what really changed. What was different in this circumstance?
No, for example, some constituencies might think that, okay, let's try and give the at that time the incumbent party or the president maybe another chance, okay, to see if that party can improve our lot.
Right. So
it's not necessarily because something fishy went on. It could be several things. Yeah, so it is more of a voting characteristics and people's expectations. Elections are sometimes based on people's expectations.
Right.
So it could be that they've been promised maybe that several projects.
Right.
Okay, if you give me maybe
Your
another 4 years. You remember that mantra, 4.
Right, 4 more to do more.
Yes,
NAPO,
exactly.
Permanent jobs,
exactly.
etc.
So maybe some of the constituencies in Greater Accra, okay, instead of following our normal pattern, why don't we
try and continue what we have started?
Exactly.
Now tell me about 2020. I'm itchy to hear that detail. You say that since 2012, the Greater Accra and Central Region had been voting in one pattern in terms of trying to swing. So they can go left, can go right at whenever they want to in terms of the presidential election. But in 2020, something changed. What changed?
And it is not even from 20, even though our data for the swing analysis is from 2012.
Right.
Technically, from 1992,
okay,
Greater Accra and Central vote en bloc in electing the presidency.
Okay.
So their voting pattern are similar. If you win Central, you are winning Greater Accra.
Right.
If you win Greater Accra, you are winning Central. That has been the pattern.
Would you say it's because of the sea and the coastal vibes? Would you attribute it to that?
Well, I mean, there are certain factors that are difficult to determine. Okay, so for example, when you go to the US, for example, they say that if you win Michigan, it means you are going to win Wisconsin. You see, there are certain demographics that seem to have certain similar characteristics.
Right.
And so what it means is that maybe in Ghana, we've not taken the time to analyze that, but it seems that when it comes to voting or other demographics, they both have fishing environment. It's both a bit, the populace a bit educated.
Right.
So their characteristics are virtually the same. They do not have any allegiance to any party. So that's block, they could be seen as one block when it comes to
taking a decision that will tilt the fortunes of the country either to the left or to the right.
Exactly.
Okay. Now in 2020, you're not forthcoming with the 2020 answer. What happened in 2020?
Yeah. So for me, I'm a data person.
Right.
I look at the data. There could be other reasons that could be incorporated into how the data went the way it went. So it's more of additional research that needs to be done to know why the departure, like the two, they say that why the twins, Greater Accra and Central, why in 2020, I mean, they decided to go separate way, one for NDC, Greater Accra, and then the Central for the NPP.
I see. Well, would you say that the Central region were wooed by the airports, the harbour promise that was made to them? So it's, well, let's go for it. I mean, because you had said earlier that some persons had said, okay, let's continue with what we began so that we can finish. And others say, okay, let's move away from it. You know, would you say that influenced the votes in the Central region by your analysis?
It could be several other things, but one thing we must also take into cognizance or take into consideration is that, you know, most Ghanaians also believe that a party must have an 8 years rule.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So one factor is that, okay, the NPP has been in power for just 4 years. Okay. So Central says that why don't we give them the chance to complete their 8-year cycle, so that we know that, okay, within these 8 years, I mean, since the beginning of the Fourth Republic, it has been 8 years for each party. So why don't we go that route, and give the NPP additional 4 years,
so that we can see what they can do,
so that we can measure exactly the performance within 8 years can be comparable.
Right.
Okay. Maybe Greater Accra said, no, maybe our expectations were not met. And so, even though we have been historically voting and giving parties 8 years, this time around we are giving the ruling party just 4 years.
Okay, I see. What were the figures in 2020?
Yeah, so in 2020, you are looking at
92.7.
The best in the morning is
so in
on
2020,
92.7.
Central region,
Sunrise
you are
on
looking
3FM.
at NPP 52.3, NDC 49.9.
This was for the presidential.
Everything we are looking at is
okay. So 52.3.
No, 52. 52. 49.
Okay, 52% and then 49%. So 52 for the NPP in the central region.
52, 45.
52, 45. So 52 for the NPP and 45 for the NDC in the central region.
Yes.
What about the Greater Accra region?
In the Greater Accra region, you are having 51% and then 48.2.
I see. So your 52 permutation then comes to pass in the central region.
Exactly.
That they had more than 52%. So
yes,
they were in a comfortable lead
to
say that we had won the presidency.
Yes.
The NDC was trailing behind with 51%. And that's what affected them. But let's look at the figures for the MPP in the Greater Accra region.
Okay. So the MPP in the Greater Accra region had 48.2%.
Compared to 45 of the NDC in the central region.
Yes.
So clearly the MPP had an upper hand in terms of the figures.
Exactly.
Right. And that's what changed.
Exactly. And one thing about central region is that just like Greater Accra, even if you win and it's below 52%, then we are going for a second round, a round of
a rerun.
Exactly.
Wow.
In 2000, the NPP won by 49.7%.
Okay.
NDC 43.7%. We went for a rerun. In 2008, NDC won by 50.6%. NPP 46%. So, as I said, you can see that the 52 is also, even though it is in Greater Accra, it is also in Central.
The central region, it cuts across
exactly
the normal the numerator or denominator.
Exactly. So you are looking at 52% as the threshold for winning the presidency, both in Greater Accra and Central region.
But 52% is quite a number. It's quite a lot of work to do.
Exactly.
Especially for cosmopolitan regions like the central region and the Greater Accra region.
Yeah.
Your people migrating from all manner of places,
exactly,
with all manner of biases and influences,
exactly,
coming to dwell here and do their work. And some vote here because they are considering their transportation and many other factors, so they want to stay here and vote, or go to the central region and vote because that's where they work anyway. They have lived there. Either they teach at maybe UCC or someplace, UUW, so they want to stay and work. But beyond these considerations, the party coloration, can you then say that a political party has a hold on a particular region, i.e. the NDC or the MPP have a hold on either the central or the Greater Accra region?
No, so I think no one can lay claim to the regions. What they can lay claim are constituencies within the regions.
Right.
So there are certain constituencies within Greater Accra that have voted NDC all along. And there are certain constituencies in Greater Accra that have voted MPP all along. Technically,
right,
There are only, since 2012, there are only 9 constituencies in Greater Accra that are determining the swing nature of the region.
Which are these constituencies?
Ablikuma Central,
okay.
Tema East, Adenta, Medina, Krowo, Amasamai, Cloticoli, Botiano, and Iowa's West Wagon.
I see. Odododio is not part of the mix.
No, Odododio, some of them swing at the, what do we call it? At parliamentary. Okay, but we are looking at the presidential.
Right.
So Odododio has never voted, changed its status and voting for the NPP as far as the presidential elections are concerned.
Right. They are always a stickler to the NDC.
Yeah.
But then these other constituencies, they flip, they change.
Yes. So they determine, this year they could be here. The next elections,
they could go here. Let's go for the constituencies again. The 9 constituencies that give the Greater Accra region its swing status.
Ablikuma Central.
Okay, that's Henry Corty's constituency.
Okay, Tema East.
Okay, Campus.
Adentan. Medina. Sosu.
Krowo. Wow.
Amasaman. Koliklote, Botiano, and then Iowa's West Wagon.
If you look at these constituencies, it looks like 4 on the side of the MPP, 4 on the side of the MPP, because Iowa's West Wagon is NPP, right? Currently, Lydia Lassan is MPP, and then you go to Botiano, that's Sylvester Tete, that's also NPP. You go to Adenta is NDC, Medina is NDC as well, right? Adenta now is NDC, Medina now NDC, and then which other constituencies? Amasaman is NPP, okay, and which other constituencies left?
Tema East
is also now NDC. Yes, and then which other constituency?
I think they are.
These are so you look at the dynamics. So I think that the NDC then has more than the MPP if you look at the seats that are available.
No, it's just 5-4.
5-4.
Yeah.
Well, but that's one more. One against. I thought it was 4.
Yeah, so 5-4. So that is. So you realize that the rest of the constituencies, if they are voting NDC, they vote for NDC.
But do the parliamentary candidates or the parliamentary representatives have any influence on what decisions the constituents take so that they can get their presidential candidates to win?
It depends.
On what?
There are certain constituencies whereby the president outperforms the parliamentary candidate. And there are certain constituencies where the parliamentary candidate outperforms the presidential candidate.
Whoa.
It cuts across. Last Monday, I said that the election, when it comes to parliamentary, it is now more localized.
Okay.
So people now look at who is close to me. They see the parliamentarian as someone who is closer to them. Okay, so the presidency seems a bit far. So you could be, I might have been voting for NDC presidential or historically, but maybe a certain candidate will come for the parliamentary whereby I believe that this person is more relevant to me in terms of solving the needs of the community or the constituency. And so when it comes to the parliamentary elections, that one is more localized, and therefore they tend to look at who is close to them and who can help solve
these
issue.
Constituencies. I mean, we'll get to the central region, so we know which other constituencies also influence what happens in the central region. But do these constituencies, as it were now, those that make the determination to say one is a swing region or it's not a swing region in favor of whichever party, would you say, for example, that if I'm a presidential candidate and I'm making a tour of the region, I need to crisscross all these 9, for example, in the Greater Accra region, because of the essence of the what do you call it, constituencies?
Exactly, because even if you lose, you have to close the margins in those constituencies where you are vulnerable. So if you know that these constituencies determine the swing nature of the region, what it means is that the people in these constituencies don't have any. They are not ideological by nature.
Right.
They are looking at solutions, and so they are more particular about problems that confront them. That is the bread and butter issues.
Right.
They are more critical of these issues, maybe than the other constituencies within the region. So the political parties have to take these 9 constituencies, and if you want to win the region,
right.
even though when it comes to president, the entire country is one constituency.
Right.
But I mean, for bragging purposes and other purposes, we want to say that, okay, I have won 7 regions.
Right.
I have won 5 regions.
Right.
So it is incumbent on political parties to look at these 9 constituencies within Greater Accra if they want to win that
the region. Let's go to Central Region. Which constituencies make the determination of the swing in the Central Region?
You are talking about Cape Coast North, Cape Coast South, Efutu, Ewutu Senya West, Gomoa Central, Asain North, Esikuma Odobin Brakwa, Gomoa East, Gomoa West, Ejumako Enyam, Esiam, Agona East, Infantiman, Asebu, Abra Asebu, Kwaman Kese, and then Chifu Ate Mokwa.
These are more than what we have in the Greater Accra region.
Yeah, that was that the great.
And if you look at this one is quite widespread. It comes along the coast.
Yeah.
It goes into the hinterlands.
Exactly.
And then it even stretches east and west.
Exactly.
Wow.
So Central Region, as I said, is the mother of all swings. Everything when it comes to skirt and blouse, they do more than any region.
But then, given the constituencies you have mentioned, it gives you the impression that the people of Central Region are hard to please.
Not hard.
You're talking about PCRP or Foris constituency.
Yes.
You're talking about Kesla Two Forces constituency.
Yes.
You're talking about Reverend Johnny Tim Forge's constituency.
Yes.
You are talking about Gomoa East, Gomoa. I mean, these are not small constituencies.
Yeah.
Quista Sawyer.
Yeah.
Not small boy constituencies. Yeah. So, can I confidently say that they are hard to please?
I think the more, maybe Central Region also has a high number of people. What I can say is that the higher the level of, okay, I don't want to do a correlation along those lines.
Right.
What I can say is that Central Region is more of a region where people are not aligned to any party.
Right.
Okay, and so when you come, they expect that you provide some form of development, stability, economic growth, and just as Greater Accra region, they want to see improvement.
Right.
So when you go and you promise them, and you say that, okay, I'm going to do A, B, or C, mostly they vent their anger on the parliamentarians.
Right.
Even apart from the press, that is why in the last election, even though NPP won the presidency in the region, they lost as a huge number, as much as 9 seats for the parliamentarians.
Right.
So they are able to, they can vote for the presidency.
Right, but they would decide that for the parliamentary you not get it.
Exactly.
But why is the presidency or the presidential tickets more important to them?
Because I think they believe that, maybe I think I'll always change it on this non-aligned concept.
Right.
Okay. If you come and you improve their lot, what happens is that you will be able to keep them for a while.
Okay. They will stick with you for
They will stick with you. So you look at, for example, when you come to the Cape Coast area, they are talking about pre-mixed issues.
Right.
They want these things resolved. They want to be able to go fishing and be able to, there is not, let's say, big industrial, establishments in Central Region as compared to Greater Accra and other regions.
Right.
So the basic things that they are looking for, they want it that if they are fisher folks, they want those any like problems surrounding these things resolved for them.
Quick and fast.
Exactly.
Don't waste their time.
Exactly. So when you come, you are an MP and you go there and you promise them that when I come, I will resolve this A, B, C, D, and you don't. I think it frustrates them.
I see. Now, in terms of, you've spoken about, and I've been intrigued about the data so far.
Yeah.
I was shocked about, and I don't know what Helen thinks, but the Volta region, the Eastern region, then what, Upper East,
Yes.
The 4 regions that you say
There is no swing.
you can't swing them, whatever you do.
Yes.
Why is it difficult not to be able to swing these 4?
Okay. So
Helen, first of all, what do you think so far?
I'm also quite intrigued by that. I thought that we would see maybe a little bit of swinging here and there, but as it stands, it's no bend, no curve, and I'm hoping we'll get some more flesh on the bones as to maybe some perspectives on why.
Okay, let's hear you. Why? Why are these 4 constant and not swingable?
yeah, so 2 factors. Okay, so they are not, as a region, they are not even swinging. And one interesting fact is that apart from they are not even swinging as a region, obviously Ashanti and Volta cannot swing as a region.
Right.
But the surprising thing is that when you find that not a single constituency in each of these regions has even swung in the last 3 election cycles.
Right.
It's surprising. So what it means is that it can be close. So when you go to Eastern, if they are voting for presidential, they will be voting for
the MPP.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you go to Akwatia, it is the parliamentary that swings in the last, not the presidential
Right.
election.
So Eastern region will vote for the MPP, Volta region for the NDC.
Exactly.
Upper East, Upper West, sorry, will vote for the NDC.
No, Upper East.
Upper East will vote for the MPP.
No, NDC.
And
the OT.
OT for the NDC as well.
Exactly.
Wow. But John Peter Mewu pulled off a very interesting one in the last election.
We are looking at president.
Yes, presidential.
But the
I'm saying,
parliamentary.
did that have any influence on the presidential votes in the area?
No. So for the presidential, NDC won the presidential hands down. It is the parliamentary that Peter Mewu won.
But how do people vote against their own kingsman and vote for want of a better expression, a presidential candidate that doesn't come from there? They may not know the presidential candidate. How? I'm just thinking.
No, so for example, the Hohoi seat. Okay, you realize that, as I said, they voted for the NDC for the Hohoi seat, but the parliamentary is localized. So they think that, okay, we know Peter Mewu, and looking at his pedigree in the government,
Right.
if we give him a chance, he's more likely to bring development to us than someone maybe
who is not going to struggle to go and meet people.
Exactly. So voters, as I said, gradually, even in the deep blue and green regions, NDC and MPP, you have voters generally who are moving gradually, tilting towards the center of the divide.
I see. Ebenezer, we're wrapping up this conversation. What should be the takeaway for us this morning? You have blown my mind about the swing and the non-swing and what influences the swing and why people swing and why they do not swing. But what do you leave us with?
What I say in conclusion is that if you want to win the presidency, you have to win Central and Greater Accra. And you don't have to win it. You must cross the 52% threshold. Other than that, you are not winning the presidency.
But the bread and butter issues in the Greater Accra region,
yes,
are they the same in the Central region?
Not necessarily. I mean, Greater Accra is more diverse in terms of economic activities.
Right.
Yeah, so people, but Central region is more of a, apart from the university and the government institutions and the fishing, you really don't see much activities apart, unless maybe you go a bit into the Asin area where you see some form of farming. So when it comes to economic activity, I mean, Greater Accra is far ahead of Central, but some way, somehow, they find a way to always vote and elect the presidency, except in 2020.
I see. I thank you very much, Eben, for your time. I'll share some detail with you. Ebenezer Nyarko with Enanalytics Company Ltd. Thank you very much. We'll be back again on Friday or no Monday. Monday is our new date. Yeah, Monday. Friday is our bus ride. Let me share the detail. In fact, tomorrow I'll see you, Eben. Tomorrow I want to see you because I'm intrigued by the detail that you have. Let's stay in the Greater Accra region. 1996, the MPP polled 43.3% in the presidential election. I'm talking about the historical performance. The NDC had 54.0%. In 2000, the MPP had 53.1%. The NDC had 42.1%. And then in 2004, the MPP maintained 51.7%. Even though they dipped, the NDC shored up its vote with 46.6%. In 2008, the NPP had 46.0%. The NDC had 52.1%. So that speaks to what Mr. Nyarko has been telling us. If you look at all the wins, in 1996, the NDC won with 54%. The NPP lost with 43%. In 2000, the Kumkofo won with 53.1%. And then you had Professor Mills losing with 42.1%. In 2004, Mr. Gufo won again with 51.7%. Professor Mills again lost with 46.6%. In 2008, Professor Mills won with 52.1%. Nanado lost with 46.0%. In 2012, Professor John Mahama won with 52.3%. And then Nanado lost with 46.9%. In 2016, MPP won with 52.4%. And then John Mahama lost with 46.7%. I'm sure you know the figures for 2020. Should I give that one to you? You look at the share of 34 out of 34 constituencies in the Greater Accra region. NDC had 20, MPP had 14. Last count. We'll return from this break. We'll give you a sneak peek into what's going to happen on Friday. 3FM bus ride. Helen, are you ready?
I am super ready. Are you ready?
Are you sure you are ready?
Very, very ready.
You are very ready.
So ready.
Okay, we'll take a quick break. We'll return from this break. We will be ready for you.